welcome to another episode of the Comic Schtick Podcast, the podcast where comics are my shtick. My name is Blake Wild. You may also know me as Smokey's Videos. And on this week's episode, we are going to be talking about a lot of Daredevil-related stuff. Because if you've been a long-time listener, you'll know what that means. And also some leaks and rumors about the MCU, along with, what else is here? A few movie discussions and some stuff. It's a lot of Marvel stuff this week, now that I'm looking at it. A lot of Marvel stuff. Only one DC-related topic I can see here on my list. Of course, before we get started, Destructo Boy, The Era of Alpha Cardinal, Part 1 of 2 is on sale now at etsy.com/Blake, or nope, that's not right. I don't know what happened. Etsy.com/shop/Blake T. Wild for $9.99 plus shipping and handling for the physical copy, $5 for digital. So, if you don't want to bother getting a physical copy, if it's too much, if you're, out of the country or something, you can get a digital copy. The physical copies, however, do come with a personalized head sketch of any character of your choosing. So when you buy the book, there will be a little dialogue box that'll pop up, and it's like customization or something it says along those lines. You just put whatever character you want in there. If it's from like an anime or something, tell me the character and what anime they're from, just because, I don't really follow that too much, so I'm not really in the know, but I will draw any character you would like and include it right in here. And yes, this is a finished book. This is one of my earlier copies that I got. It's a test proof, so don't worry about it. You won't have to be getting this one that I show every video. This is a completed comic book, and issue 2 is coming soon. I mentioned it a couple weeks ago that I got hired to work on another little indie comic book project. I'm still trying to finish that up. Hopefully it should be concluding very soon so I can get back to work getting these all published and everything. I've just started on issue 5, which is entitled Grimlax, the Astro Knight. Anybody who read the original Destructo Boy comic, which is available on my Patreon, will recognize that name. So yeah, Destructo Boy. It's going to be 5 issues. It's about this little robot right here named Destructo Boy. He's the protector and guardian of a giant space station called Zephyrus, and he fights evildoers and saves the day, no matter the cost. He's not called Destructo Boy for no reason. So check this out. It's going to be 5-issue little mini-series. Issue 1 and 2 are is a two-parter, as well as issues 3 and 4 is another two-parter. And then issue 5 is a bit longer, and it's one long story. So check that out. It's fun. It's colorful. Well, the front and back cover are, since it's, in black and white on the inside. It is the return of compressed storytelling in comics. I'm trying to get, even in the Part 1 and Part 2 issues, I'm trying to get a beginning, a middle, and end. I'm not writing for the trade here with this, like a lot of comics do nowadays with decompressed storytelling. I love comics from the 60s, so the dialogue's a bit corny, and the science is ridiculous, and it is just a big sci-fi romp. It's a lot of fun. Everybody who's been reading it really digs it. I've been getting really good feedback on it. So check that out, etsy.com/shop/Blake T. Wild, and check it out. And, I got a new cup this week. It's the African elephant and the Asian elephant. It's bad at driving. Hopefully this larger cup than my normal green plastic one will suffice for this episode, because I imagine it might be a long one. This is from, what is this from? This is from the San Diego Safari Park, which used to be called the San Diego Zoo Wild Animal Park. And they rebranded for some reason. It's a great place. It's not like a normal zoo. It's one of those, I guess it's like a zoo that tries to emulate reality in regards to, habitats and spacing and everything. They aren't limited by being surrounded by a city, because it's, it's on the outskirts, out in the mountains. So they bought just huge tracts of land. like one of their more famous things is this big safari, like savanna area, which is just a couple acres of land that has just been associated or given to various animals such as giraffes, maybe elephants, gazelles, whatnot. It's a great place. I loved going. My family and I used to go every summer. I really dig it more than a normal zoo because I always felt zoos were just too cramped. And, the animals just look really depressed at zoos. But I never felt that here at the Safari Park, Wild Animal Park, for some reason. Anyway, I don't know why I'm talking about this when I need to be talking about Jurassic League. That's right. I only got one comic book in the past week in the post, so I'm going to talk about that, and that is Jurassic League. If you're unaware, this is by it's Daniel Warren Johnson and somebody else whose name I can't remember, but he does the art and it looks incredible. Something I've also been noticing a lot is Daniel Warren Johnson has this specific style of when he creates motion lines, and it's real fast squiggle lines. I feel like I'm seeing a lot of emulation of that. It makes sense. I've been trying to figure out how to get it to look right myself, just because I'm constantly trying to figure out how to make speed lines and the motion lines of a character look interesting. So I've been trying to reverse engineer how he does it to look so good. But I noticed a lot in this book, and to my surprise, he did not do the art, like I mentioned. Jurassic League. Jurassic League takes place in a universe where dinosaurs and cavemen rule the earth. I kept waiting for some sort of Flintstones reference. I don't think there was one. If there was, I didn't catch it. But it follows... Oh, shit. I don't remember the names of any of the actual dinosaur characters. It's Batman, but he's a dinosaur. It's Superman, and he's a dinosaur. I think his, Super Brachiosaurus or something like that. Supersaurus. Wonder Woman is there. She's a Triceratops. Aquaman is is it Ichthyopus, something like that. Have they shown any others? I don't think so. I think they've only shown Aquaman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman. But it is not what I expected. I expected it to just be a fun little alternate reality where they're all dinosaurs, which it is, but there is this very underlying, somewhat underlying, because we see what happens, very dark and creepy conspiracy going on. Spoiler alert for Jurassic League number 1. It opens up with Supersaurus getting sent to Earth on a meteor, and this caveman and cavewoman find him, and they adopt him a la Pa and Ma Kent, and he grows up in their little commune, and he helps make it better and builds them big wooden walls and shit to keep everybody safe and together. So it opens with that, and then immediately cuts, and it spends a lot of time on the bat dinosaur, on Batasaurus or whatever they call him, who hails out of Goth Arg or something like that. I felt that was my biggest issue, I think, with this, is that it spent a lot of time on the Batman character, so hopefully the next coming issues, disperse the storytelling a bit more. But he is tracking down this character whose name I hate, Jokerzard. Like a lizard in Joker. It's a portmanteau. The design looks really cool. The name just fucking sucks. Laphosaurus? No, that's terrible. The design is really cool because it's a Dilophosaurus that's colored like the Joker. And, Dilophosauruses, what does everybody know about them? Jurassic Park. They spit out the acid. So what does Joker do? He has the little acid flower. With the Dilophosaurus, even though this wasn't really correct, it has those frills that come out, and his head looks like a giant flower that's spitting acid out, which is a really great concept. Whoever fucking came up with that, you gotta pat yourself on the back, because that's a great idea. Anyway, it's about Batman tracking down Jokerzard. And he finds him. He's like, oh, this is the dinosaur who killed my parents, is what he uncovers eventually. And it's such an incredible image. It flashes back to when dinosaur Batman's parents were killed, and it's this little baby T-Rex just crying over these two corpses of his parents as the Joker Zard runs off in the distance. It's such a sad image. But anyway, he tracks down Joker to this like cave out in the middle of nowhere in the jungle, and he finds all these bones of like of the small creatures is what they call them, the humans, or the proto-humans. He finds all these like skeletons and shit, and then he looks up and there's this tree made out of flesh and human body parts in this cave, in the middle of this cave. There's just all these human corpses strewn about, and then in the center, Joker Zard has somehow turned them, like put them all together, I guess with like his goop or something, and turned them into a giant meat tree. And Batman's like, what the fuck? And then Joker shows up and he attacks him, and they have a fight and a bout. And Batman thinks he kills him. Batsaurus thinks he kills him. But he gets distracted when he sees a small child who obviously is going to become Robin. And then he turns back and Joker Zard is gone. So then he's like, okay, well, I'm not leaving this fucking thing here to, just sit here and fester or whatever. So he burns down the meat tree and leaves with the little boy. And that takes up most of the issue. Elsewhere, there's the stuff on Themyscira, which is all the same except they're dinosaurs, because it's Diana is there, and her mother is telling her about Ares, the god of war, who I guess is still called that in this universe, about how, like, the Amazonians rebelled and killed him or whatever, and took over the island for themselves and escaped slavery. And then eventually that scene ends with Diana the Triceratops leaving to join, I guess it wouldn't be man's world. I guess it would be. To join man's world. She gets like the outfit and the lasso and everything else. That's the least interesting part of the story right here, is the Diana introduction. I sort of like skimmed over it, if I'm honest with you. Then there's Aquaman, who happens before that, I think. I think Diana has like a nightmare about him for some reason. This giant manta ray called Black Mantaurus or something like that, some dumb name, is attacking like Pacific Rim fishermen or whatever. Aquaman shows up and he fights them and he saves the day. So we got Aquaman in here, Dino-Aquaman. So that's there. And then what else is there? Oh yeah, and then it ends with Supersaurus showing back up in the town, and he's like helping them make more walls and stuff so everybody can be safe. And then Bizarro Supersaurus and Giganta show up, both dinosaurs, and they're like, oh, we gotta collect the humans or whatever. And the overarching story here that's being told sort of in the background, because it's not really it's not pointed out very much, it's just sort of there, is that these evil dinosaurs are collecting humans for something. It's like some dark elder god, maybe. Bizarro Supersaurus sort of alludes to there being a greater force at play here that they're working with. So who knows what the fuck is going on here, but the fact that there is something out there that wants all these human corpses is enough to make me continue buying this series. Like I said, I was expecting just like a fun little, oh, it's the Justice League, but they're dinosaurs, and they're fighting Lex Luthor as a dinosaur, and Joker as a dinosaur, and whatever else. But no, that is not what this is. This is a clear story that they want to tell about some weird shit. Definitely check it out. I recommend it. It's a fun book. I'm having fun with it. I look forward to the next couple issues. I don't know how many it is. I don't know. I assume it's a limited series, so maybe 5 or 6, if that. Maybe 3. Who knows? But yeah, I'm looking forward to more Jurassic League in the future. Moving on to a little addendum Is that right? Amendment? Addendum? To my Multiverse of Madness discussion. Just some stuff that I forgot to mention last time that I wanted to. So, spoiler alert, if you still haven't seen it, go check out last week's episode where I go into great depth and discussion on Multiverse of Madness. So, the first is, I like that America lands she lands in other universes on that exact same rooftop. I don't know if that's ever mentioned in the comics, or if that's a thing taken from the comics, or if that's just an invention completely for this film, but I like that. And I can't say why. It's just an odd specification of her powers that she always enters a universe on this rooftop. But it also brings into question why. Why has she come out there? If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's the rooftop where Doctor Strange buries the corpse of himself. It's also the same rooftop that they come out in the Illuminati 838 universe. But why is it that universe? Or why is it that rooftop? Why is it that building? What happens if that building's not there? Like in the Paint universe. I guess it's just she goes to those exact coordinates or something? Is that... I read more about America Chavez in the comics after doing last week's episode or something, I think. And from what I can tell is that initially they didn't want her to be from a universe. They wanted her to be like outside of the main universe or of a universe. And that's where her utopia place was, and her powers manifested for some reason and took her to an actual part of the multiverse of Marvel. But then that was retconned to say, no, it was just like Earth in the future or something. So does that mean that like little riverbed place, I think they're at a river. Is that where they're at? They're outdoors. And she's with her moms during the flashback and like the bee lands on her hand or something. Is that the exact same location? Is that New York? Is that where New York would be in that universe? Is that what's going on here? I don't know, it's just a little tidbit of something I wanted to talk about and try and figure out. The other thing is, okay, so this is going to be a bit out there. So, after watching Multiverse of Madness for the first time, it did something to my brain that made me actively think about and remember my dreams. Like, because usually I'll have like little glimpses here and there, nothing too much of when I wake up. Maybe like, I don't know, whatever happened right before I woke up. But I saw Multiverse of Madness on a Saturday, and the next I don't know why that's important. The next 2 or 3 days afterward, I remembered like a lot of my dreams. I don't remember much of them now, except for one specific one. It was the most interesting of them. It was interesting enough for me to write down and to mention here. So I don't know. Did that happen to anybody else? Is like, what sort of subliminally shown subconscious alert did this movie send to my brain to like make it actively think about remembering my dreams? Did anybody else experience this? Do I just sound like a crazy person right now? Probably the second one. Anyway, but the dream that I remember most, or like the dream that really had an impact on me after seeing this movie, that like really just unsettled me, was that I was with somebody. I cannot remember who it was. It might have been my girlfriend. It might have been like some friend. It might have just been a dream person who I associated with having a relationship of. This also goes into the whole, dreams are just us from another universe or whatever. Like maybe something about that really stood out like to like me subconsciously to where I just kept thinking about that, and that's why I remember the dreams. But anyway, so I was with this person, and we were in their car, and we were driving through the city somewhere. And for some reason, I was sitting in the back. It was an American-style car, so, left-hand side is where the driver's seat is. I was sitting in the passenger seat in the back on the left. And I think they were driving, like, real fast or something. We were trying to get somewhere. and we were talking, and God knows what it was about. I don't remember how does speech even really work in dreams anyway. But something happened, and as the dream went on, I became gradually more and more lucid, and I realized that this was a dream, and I was like, this is weird. What is going on? And then, I sort of started realizing what was going on. It was a dream. And then I turned to my right, someplace I had not looked yet, because, when you're dreaming, sometimes you'll actively be in charge of what's going on. Oftentimes, it's sort of just like you're watching a television screen through your eyes. So that's more or less what was happening. I went from just watching the dream to being in the dream. And I hadn't looked to my right. And so I looked to my right, and on the opposite side, leaning against the door, sort of like this, like the back, like this is the door, the back door on the right side of the car, there was this old man sitting like so with his arm on the back seat. And he was wearing like a 3-piece suit. It might have been maroon maybe, or purple. He was bald, I think. And I looked over, and I saw him, and I was like, what the fuck? And I said, who are you? And the old man just smiled at me slyly. And then, above my bed, I have several shelves of action figures. A bunch of them just fell off and hit me as I was sleeping, and I woke up. What the fuck was that about? So to recap, I had this dream, I become lucid, I start looking around the dream, and I see a weird old man watching me. I ask who he is. He gives me a devilish little smirk, and then some stuff fell on me and I woke up. I don't know. That was one of the weirdest dreams I've had in quite some time, even weirder by the fact that stuff in the real world hurt me. So who knows what was going on there. Did you have any weird dreams after watching Multiverse of Madness? Let me know in the comments. Alright, so yeah, moving on to the next topic, which is, I'm going to be brief about this. It's Chip and Dale. Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, the new film by Lonely Island's Andy Samberg and the other two, and John Mulaney is also in it. It is a great movie. I watched it just the other day. I really enjoyed it. I had a great time. I was laughing the whole way through. I love Andy Samberg. I love John Mulaney. I had the luck of seeing John Mulaney live, like in 2015 or 2016, before he really made it big and was, affordable. I just love him. He's a great comedian. But yeah, it's a really fun movie. It's this generation's Roger Rabbit, and Roger Rabbit also appears. Spoiler alert, it's a fucking dark movie. The basis, or like the premise of the film, is an analogy, or like an analog for human trafficking. And that is because there is this gang of criminals who kidnaps cartoons, imprisons them, erases their mouths, and then puts them under genetic modification to become knockoffs, to then force them to star in bootleg movies. And at the end of the film, we learn that they keep all these characters who they've kidnapped and kept in goddamn shipping crates at a dockyard. It is full on human trafficking. This is like when Zootopia came out, and it was like an analogy for... Is that correct use of the analogy? Who knows? I'm not an English major. It was like when Zootopia came out, and it was like an analogy for crack in the black community. It's just such a dark subject matter being told through the eyes of a Chip and Dale live-action cartoon. Definitely check it out if you haven't already. I've never seen the original Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, never gave a shit to watch it, so I had no, previous experience going into this. I don't even care for Chip and Dale or many Disney characters that much. So, I could understand what was happening because they give you a pretty good, backstory at the beginning of the film. So I wasn't lost there. but it's a really fun film. There's a lot of great actors in it. There's a lot of good, great comedy bits. Fucking Ugly Sonic makes a cameo appearance. Will Arnett plays Peter Pan. Who else? Fucking J.K. Simmons plays this little Gumby police detective, and he is incredible. He is such a fun character. I really dig that character. That's just something I watched and wanted to recommend to people. So definitely check out Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers. It's on Disney Plus if you have that, and I'm sure it's on a wide variety of pirate sites if you have those as well. Now let's get into the Marvel section of the show. Beginning this off with the news about Stan Lee. Stan Lee lives on. Marvel has signed a 20-year deal with Stan Lee Universe, a venture between Genius Brands International and POW Entertainment, to license the name and likeness of Stan Lee for use in future feature films, oh my god, and television productions, as well as Disney theme parks, various experiences, and merchandising. Why is experiences in quotations? What does that mean? Is that like hologram or something? So, if you're unaware of this, if you don't go in the corners of the internet that I do, people have seemingly been in an uproar about this. Oh, how dare they do that? How dare they steal Stan Lee's likeness? Blah, blah, blah. I personally feel that this is 100% something Stan Lee would have done. He would slap his name on anything and everything. Fucking what didn't Stan Lee have merchandise of? He did it all. There's like Stan Lee poker chips you can buy, and commemorative coins, and trading cards, and do I have it? Stan Lee's, get this is not, I have How to Draw Marvel Comics, How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way by Stan Lee and John Buscema. Stan Lee, the writer of comic books. But a more recent book was called Stan Lee's, you can't even see this, I don't know why I'm pointing at it. It's called Stan Lee's How to Draw Superheroes. I got that as a gift. It's a pretty pointless book, but it proves my point, I feel, is that Stan Lee would have done this in a heartbeat. I know there's all the stuff about elder abuse and whatnot, but I don't know, I may be mistaken, but I thought they sort of got away from that towards, like, he was, he got away from those people and was, freed from their hold on him towards the end of his life. So, this is sort of like, this is his, I guess, a mixture of his estate and the companies who own the Stan Lee personified character. So yeah, I was not shocked by this at all. I had no hard feelings about this because Stan Lee loved money, he loved publicity, and I feel like he would have been perfectly fine with this. Now on to Deadpool 3. So recently a tweet came out saying that the Deadpool 3 brand integrations had been completed. So they've gotten all their brands for all of their, merchandising and advertisements in the film. What is that? Product placement. There you go. That's what they're implying there in that tweet on the Deadpool account, was that they got all their stuff for product placements ready. And now they're moving on to the script and the casting and whatever. So yeah, Deadpool 3 officially begun production, I guess. So that is very cool. Not a whole lot really known about that. Yeah, not a lot to say other than Deadpool 3 is on the way. I should have put this earlier, but here's a little break. Reservation Dogs Season 2 comes out August 3rd, which is something I just learned and I'm very excited about, so I included it here. Reservation Dogs follows a group of teenagers on a Native American reservation. Ah, fuck, where are they at? Montana, maybe? Indiana? I can't remember. Can't remember what state they're in. But it's a really good show. It's on Hulu, FX, maybe. Definitely check that out. Check out Season 2. It's a very fun show. It was commercialized and, like, advertised as Taika Waititi having a lot to do with it, but I think he might have directed an episode and maybe, like, done some script punch-ups here and there, but he did not have a very big hand in this show. But it is an incredible show. I really enjoyed it. It's really good characters, really fun, really also heart-wrenching. So check out season 2 if you have. Check out season 1 if you haven't already. Get ready for season 2. And another break from Marvel stuff is the Prey teaser trailer. I really should have organized this better. Prey, which is, there's a little teaser trailer. If you haven't heard about it like me, Prey is going to be a Predator movie involving, I don't know where they're at. It might be Native American. It might be like Central America, South America. I'm not sure what the culture is, but it's, primitive society goes up against predators. That's pretty cool. Hopefully it's better than the last Predator movie. So I'm looking forward to that. And back into the Marvel stuff is the Thor Love and Thunder trailer, which I refuse to watch. Not because I hate the movie or whatever, or that I think gore looks silly, like I always do. I don't like gore. Check out my video on Gore the God Butcher. I don't know if you're watching on YouTube. There's going to be a little gray box, hopefully. I don't know. I just don't want to. I don't want to see it. I'm going to see it anyway, so I don't know. I figure why not. Like that first trailer that was released that I did a little coverage of, that's enough for me. So, I've already been sold on this film since it was announced, so I don't need to see more trailers to, watch it. If I do watch the trailer, it will probably be because I am going to see a movie and it's playing beforehand. But yeah, other than that, I'm just not even going to bother with the trailers anymore. Just because, like I said, already sold on the film. But from the screenshots, Gore looks ridiculous. I've only seen the pictures where he's like, he looks really creepy. I really like his eyes, how his eyes glow and like a real pinhold. That looks very cool. Also, there was a rumor or something that he can shapeshift, so maybe that has something to do with his looks. Who knows? But yeah, back into Marvel, full throttle. Yeah. Let's see, what am I doing? Namor's New Groove is what I've titled this section of my notes. This comes from a website called Chipu. Chipu? Chipuu. It's in Portuguese because it's Brazilian. It's a Brazilian, I guess, pop culture and news website or something. I've never heard of it before, but this seems to be the big place that this all is coming from. And that is information about Namor appearing in Black Panther 2. They post, I don't know if they posted or somebody else did, but there's real low resolutions of Namor going around the internet, and it's really cool. It's Aztec inspired and themed outfits, which I wish they had done for the Eternals, because Jack Kirby based a lot of his designs on Aztec South American cultures, and Eternals was just sort of bland in terms of their costumes. I like the Eternals movie. I don't know why I started going off on this, but yeah, I really dig it. It's it's traditional sort of Aztec attire, I guess, as traditional as you can get for a man with wings on his ankles who wears short shorts. So from the Chipu website, here is what they have to say. The character will not originate in Atlantis, as in the comics, but in the Central American region, and will come from a historic and submerged city of Mexican culture. Also, he will be the son of a human with a queen of the submerged people. Tenoch Huerta will play the character, who will also be accompanied by a royal guard? I don't know what that means. The change must occur so that the public does not confuse Namor so much with Aquaman, a character who has an almost identical origin in the comics. He's half human, half Atlantean, and rules Atlantis. Having two characters from the same background would complicate the audience's understanding, because the general audience are idiots. Tenoch Huerta, I assume that's how you pronounce his name. Never heard of him before. Apparently he was in one of the Purge movies from last year, I think, and the Narcos Mexico show. He looks like a great Namor. He has like very elongated facial features. I hope that they give him the widow's peak and the pointy ears, because I'm not getting the pointy ears or the widow's peak from Black Adam, that's for sure. For anybody unaware, Namor is, well, he's older than Aquaman. He came out in 1938, 1939. Let me check. $1939, Marvel Comics #1, Motion Picture Funnies Weekly. He's older than Aquaman. What year did Aquaman come out? 41. So, he's a couple years older than Aquaman, who came out in 1941. But obviously more people know who Aquaman is than Namor, so people are going to be like, oh, they're just copying DC. The same way I imagine people are going to be like, oh, She-Hulk is copying Deadpool. But anyway, this seems really cool. Like I said, I really dig the design. The alleged, like, the concept art design is what it is. It's not like actual pictures of him or something. It's like, clearly a digital render that somebody illustrated on a tablet. I don't know what that means about him playing a character who will also be accompanied by a royal guard. I don't know. That, I'll be honest, that does sound like Aquaman, because he had Mera. But yeah, I'm not really that familiar with Namor. I have a fair amount of the issues by, oh shit, what's his name? That was like I don't think it was called the Savage Namor series or something. But it was, oh god damn it, what is his name? He was an Image comic artist. He worked there. Damn. Namor 90s series. No, not John Byrne. This fucking guy. What is his name? God damn it. Come on. Of course, this was back in comics. Didn't have the names on them. Still, for some reason. Okay, god damn it. Fuck off, John Byrne, you asshole. I don't like John Byrne. He's not a good person. Jay Lee. There you go. I have the stuff that Jay Lee did and John Byrne. That's the name I was trying to think of that I could not, is Jay Lee. So I have all those, like, those 90s issues from, like, the late 80s, early 90s. I have some of those. I have a fair amount of those, but I haven't read them yet. Namor, I really only know from Fantastic Four comics. Yeah, I can't think of anything else, really. Illuminati, I guess. The Illuminati books from the 2000s. Late 2000s. I've known from that. But other than that, I've never cared for Namor. I don't really care about him that much. He's an asshole. So this will be interesting. I hope they do play him up as a dickhead who, has like a superiority complex. Namor, fun fact, is also the first mutant, chronologically. Well, not chronologically, but just like by release date. I don't know when that was declared that he was a mutant, but he was like always, he's the first mutant that mankind has ever seen. I really like what they did Ed Piskor did in X-Men Grand Design, which is Namor being a mutant and attacking New York and flooding it and killing hundreds of thousands of people, is what like begins the mutant hate. And, X-Men is in the works. Namor could be the first mutant that we see in Marvel. Maybe. Assuming that, you don't believe that Ursa Major was in Black Widow. But, yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. Black Panther 2, other stuff that I've read from there was that, what was it? It was that the Atlanteans are going to be the blue-skinned fish people. They're going to, like, team up with Wakanda. What are you doing down there, dog? What else are they going to do? I think, like, Wakanda's going to form a navy, I saw somebody say. So I don't know about that. But, yeah, take that with a grain of salt. But this Namor stuff, this definitely this is like, seems pretty solid. Speaking of Black Panther, my theory as to what they will do to explain T'Challa's absence is that he's gone to space to colonize. Because in the comics, Wakanda has a vast, like, intergalactic empire. Like, they sent out ships from Earth, and they just colonized. And now there's, like, this giant Wakandan space empire that we just never see or hear about. So maybe that's where he went. Maybe he went to space. He's like Poochie. Oh, man. All right, yeah, I've been looking at my phone because I've been trying to get some screenshots that I took on here. And those screenshots pertain to Werewolf by Night rumors / leaks. So this was posted on the Marvel Studios Spoilers subreddit a couple days ago, sometime last week, I think. So, if you're looking forward to Werewolf by Night, skip ahead to a topic that doesn't have spoilers or leaks. So, this is from someone who says, I have seen most of the script, but not any of the footage, and I'm not sure how long it will be, but I've heard it could be in an episode format instead of a short movie. Werewolf by Night is Jack Russell. The special won't be an origin story. Jack already knows of his power / curse and tries to avoid it because he can't control it. He only becomes a werewolf during the full moon, but learns how to turn whenever he wants by picturing a full moon in his mind, which is it's such a ridiculous concept. He also is apparently going to be he locks himself up in an abandoned church, and that is where he finds, or meets, I guess, Elsa Bloodstone. I talked about that very briefly a couple weeks ago. There was rumors going around that's this, I can't remember who the actress is. She was going to be playing Elsa Bloodstone in this. So, there's some stuff about Jack Russell. Yes, that is his name. He does turn into a dog man, and he's called Jack Russell. There's some stuff about how Dracula put a curse on his family and their bloodline, and that's why he's a werewolf. But the interesting thing is that, let's see, where is it? Oh yeah, and he also has a sister or something, but they had a falling out, blah blah blah. And there's a little, there's the Darkhold has something to do with this curse, maybe. Elsa Bloodstone will have a big role. She is a monster hunter and is looking for a creature that has been killing people around Jack's location. Convenient. She obviously comes to the church because she thinks that that's where the monster is. She and Jack have a fight and beats him because she's the world's greatest monster hunter. I talked about her backstory and everything in whatever episode that was. Jack then transforms and, he realizes what happened. Elsa begins interrogating him about all the people who have been dying recently in this area, and he says that he doesn't kill any people. That's why he locks himself up here all alone, and he can remember stuff from when he transforms, and he knows that he didn't do anything. Let's see. Oh, that's right. The only person he ever attacked was his sister. So that's why he had a falling out with his family and everything. And why he, chains himself up now, because he can't trust himself. Tells her that he's looking for a cure. Elsa doesn't believe him, but he volunteers to help her find the monster. By the end of the movie or show, they both end up liking each other, and it's a relationship Marvel will probably explore in the future. That's a dumb little note. Elsa and Jack have a monster hunting adventure, and this is here where it gets interesting. One of the monsters is apparently going to be Man-Thing, who is described in this post as very sarcastic. Now, Man-Thing, from my limited exposure to him, doesn't speak. So this will be interesting. Man-Thing, if you don't know what his whole his shtick is, he looks like he's like Swamp Thing, but worse. He has these big tendrils coming off of his face that are made like plant roots. He has glowing red eyes that he can use to burn people alive. I think his touch also burns people alive. I don't know why this plant can burn people. But Swamp Thing hangs out in this swamp and is the guardian protector of this portal into other universes. I don't know if it's ever been explained why, but that's just his deal. That's what he does. And even more exciting is that apparently the Mummy and the Manphibian are going to be appearing in this show. Hopefully maybe Frankenstein's monster. Ooh, that'd be cool. Manphibian, you know, it's the fish man, and the Mummy are, you know, classic Marvel horror characters. I hope we can get Dracula in here, maybe Shikla, who was going to be Dracula's wife until she fell in love with Deadpool, and then they ruined her by making her, like, cheat on him or something. I didn't like it. I didn't like that at all. I was really happy with the Deadpool-Shikla marriage storyline, and I hated that it got soiled. That's something I really don't like about that run. But, yeah, I love Shikla. Maybe she'll appear in this. She's a horror-themed character. What else? Okay, here's the biggest spoiler, which is who the main villain is. Nina Price, Jack's niece who can turn into a vampire. Jack distanced himself from his sister after he attacked her. Nina can't control her bloodlust, so she kills people, but it's later revealed that everyone she's killed were terrible people, like child predators and rapists and murderers. So she saw herself as a vigilante. Nina Price is the Vampire by Night. Real original name? I guess that's fine. That just seems like a very not interesting character. Although, you know, going by the Marvel tried and true tradition of having the villain be the opposite of the main character, what's opposite of a werewolf but a vampire, I guess. So she's the villain. They're like, you know, you gotta stop, blah, blah, blah. Jack tries to get her to control it. And it ends with Nina agreeing to be trained by Jack to control her powers. And there's a scene where the family reunites. The only two MCU references, allegedly, are Moon Knight, who is mentioned on the news that somebody's watching as a vigilante, and Blade. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so Blade appears as sort of a Nick Fury-esque thing, where he's starting the Midnight Suns, which another leak or rumor is that it's going to be SUNS, as to, you know, not, you know, so it's not a boys' club or something. So, you know, Elsa Bloodstone can be there, Vampire Knight can be there, whatever. So yeah, Blade is going to show up and invite him to be in his Midnight Suns group. Also, yeah, Black Knight. I forgot about Black Knight. He's going to be in the Midnight Suns, I guess, because of the Eternals scene or something. But yeah, apparently it's also going to be like delving more into the horror aspect, which is really good, especially since it's a Halloween-themed episode or show, movie, and it's about, you know, darker horror-themed characters from Marvel. And yeah, that's what's going on there in the Werewolf by Night scene of the rumor mill. That sounds pretty good. Like I said, I don't really give a shit about Vampire by Night. I don't give a shit about any of these characters, to be honest. I like Elsa Bloodstone from Agents of Hate. That's the only thing I've really read her in. She's a lot of fun there. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like that if this is true, that ending is sort of meh. That's like a hard alright. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe Vampire by Night will look cool. I don't know if she's gonna be able to top Morbius, though. I don't think anybody can do that. But yeah, I'm still looking forward to it. I want to see Man-Thing. I want to see him burn some people, I imagine. Moving on to the next rumor/leak list, and that is from the same Reddit post, and this has to do with Miss Marvel. Now, this is the interesting one. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna read what I find interesting on this post, as my dog scratches stuff in his sleep. The villains are the Clandestine. They're a rogue faction of Kree human hybrids descended from Adam, the first human in prehistoric times to be experimented on by the Kree. So already we're getting, some Kree crap. Kamala is a descendant on her mother's side, and those bracelets that we see in the trailer, they give her the powers, obviously. There's a crystal inside those bracelets. And it's like an ancient alien technology that was left over that I guess was passed down through the generations. Blah, blah, blah. Some other stuff. The clandestine aren't completely evil. They believe in a prophecy that says the Kree will return one day to use them as living weapons in a war against the Skrulls. There is also rumors that Secret Invasion possibly won't be about the Skrulls rather than the Kree instead, who used the blip as to take over the power vacuum. I hope not. I really want the Skrulls to be the bad guys of Secret Invasion, because I don't want the Kree to be there. So there's this character called Cameron who's from the comics, I guess. I never read Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, but he's like an Inhuman, and apparently in this show his mom is going to be the villain. So that's giving me some Runaways vibes. I already talked about the crystals in her armor and whatnot. Najima, who is Cameron's mother, she is going to name drop the Inhumans when she gives like some backstory, so the Inhumans are coming back. Yay! But the best part of this leak, assuming it's true, is that, here, I'll read it verbatim. In the finale, the Terrigen crystal inside her bracelet breaks during a fight with a clandestine, and she undergoes full Terrigenesis. She has a vision of Captain Marvel and emerges from the cocoon even more powerful. So, there we go. That is really cool that they're actually going to make her an Inhuman, hopefully. That's as soon as I say for the last part, I'm really looking forward to that. I say that for all this stuff, is that I'm really looking forward to it, It's sort of my shtick now. But that's pretty cool that, she isn't going to be an Inhuman right off the bat. I hope that means that she does get the stretchy powers, and it's not just like, oh, you're an Inhuman now, and you can do the same stuff. You get the energy crap. I would hope that it's a combination of the two, where she can stretch and she still has the energy stuff if she wants to, because I feel like the only reason that they did the energy stuff was to make her more in line with Captain Marvel of the MCU, to give them a similar power status and level for when they team up in the Marvels movie. The post finishes off by saying that Cameron becomes a bad guy and swears vengeance on Kamala before being taken into custody by NICE, a division of SWORD, monitoring any human activity from rival factions and tribes hidden across the globe. Monica Rambeau then recruits Kamala for the Marvels in the end. So yeah, it seems like this is sort of just going to be a direct lead-in to the Marvels. I can't remember when that comes out. Sometime next year. But yeah, so I doubt we're going to be seeing Kamala in anything between then and now, once this show comes out. What could NICE stand for? Obviously, the I is going to be Inhuman. National, no. Something Inhuman Containment Enforcement, maybe? I don't know. Yeah, so those are just interesting rumors, leaks. Tell me what you think in the comments. I'm glad that they're going to make her an Inhuman. Like I said, I just hope that they give her the stretchy stuff. The stretchy powers. Because if not, it just feels like a waste. Why do one or the other when you have the option to do both, assuming that this is true? Yeah, take it with a grain of salt. It was posted on Reddit. Who knows? I think it's from a fairly reliable source of somebody who got a lot of stuff right about Multiverse of Madness. So, it might be true, it might not be. We can't say. Moving on now to Daredevil on Disney+. A series is in the works. I don't know, if you've been following this podcast, I discussed this quite a while ago. There was this Hollywood magazine that they released that announces or reveals all the production listings of different companies and whatnot, and one of those was Daredevil. So this has been known to be in the works for a while, but now it just finally has some actual names attached to it, those being Matt Corman and Chris Ord, who are set to write. It was announced in a Variety article by Joe Otterson, just because get the source out there. And Ord and Corman were apparently showrunners on The Enemy Within, The Brave, and the CW series Containment, and they wrote Covert Affairs. 4 shows that I've never heard of or watched. So I don't know what that means. If you've seen any of those shows, let me know what they're like. Are they good? Are they alright? What's in store here for Daredevil? So yeah, that's exciting news, is that Daredevil is trucking along. I can't wait. I'm very excited for that. Maybe they will, cover some stuff, adapt some stuff from the Nocenti run. That'd be pretty cool. Speaking of the Nocenti run, I say now that we are finally an hour into this fucking podcast, and that is that I finally finished Nocenti's Daredevil. And boy, is this list long. So, like I've been saying, if you've been a follower of this podcast for a while, you'll know that I've been reading all of Nocenti's Daredevil, which is issue 250-something maybe, to 291, 293, 292, can't remember. It's about 30, 40 issues, and I finally finished them. And now I'm going to talk about them. It's been a while, so hopefully I can remember. But let's start this right off with... go check out whatever that episode was last time, because I'm not going to do a recap. I'm just going to start off from where I stopped. Well, I guess I'll do a quick recap. So, Daredevil has given up his superhero identity. He's traveling like upstate New York, out in like the middle of nowhere. He comes across this girl at a farmhouse, or something, I think. I can't remember. He comes across these like just one-off stories here and there. He came across this drug dealer guy whose plane crashed, and Daredevil helped him out because it was burning. When I talked about that, I was like, what the fuck is this? Why is this happening? The guy hasn't even come back yet. He finally has. And that drug dealer also runs a genetically modified humans and like laboratory, and owns this giant farm that he sells meat to packing industries and shit, or he packs meat and sells it to like McDonald's and shit, and Tyson, whatever. So he owns one of those farms where all the animals are real cramped in, and there's like a lot of commentary about that. Because Nocenti, she likes to put, societal issues into her stories. So he comes back, and what he is working on is a perfect wife. Which entails, I don't know really how it works. I don't know if it was really explained. It's either they're genetically growing these beautiful women in test tubes, or they're taking these beautiful women and fucking rewriting their brains to be the perfect, housewife, trophy wife. It's really fucked up. It's really creepy. And the Inhumans are there. So, yeah, there's the Inhumans. I'm getting ahead of myself. So, this is happening concurrently. The Inhumans have a storyline where it's the guy with bull feet and the one Karnak, I think his name is. The guy who can, see fucking, what can he see? He can see, fighty, I don't know, it's something. He can see ahead of time or something. He can see, weak spots or something, whatever his power is. They're looking for Medusa's son. Medusa's son has been removed from Attilan by the Inhuman Council, even though they're the royal family, so I don't know why they allowed that. But yeah, so this is happening in the background. Daredevil comes across this young girl who is 20-something-year-old girl who is trying to break into this giant factory farm to, reveal the dirty secrets. She accidentally destroys the place and starts a fire or something. All the animals escape, blah, blah, blah. Or Daredevil convinces her to just let all the animals out, and it accidentally gets destroyed. And that is when the beautiful, vivacious, sultry, sexy woman named Number 9 escapes. Number 9 is that perfect housewife I was telling you about. She escapes, and Daredevil and the girl, whose name I can't remember, find her. I don't know if I ever write down her name, or if I ever made note of it. I don't think so. I'm just going to call her Sarah. I don't know if that's right. Gorgon, that's the... Brandy. Yeah, okay, I'm remembering everybody. So Brandy is the girl, who happens to be the daughter of the drug dealer who owns the factory farm. She's been living off of his, like, he sends her money and she lives off that, essentially. And she's pissed off with him for some reason. Like, she's done with him because she's been living under his thumb for all these years, blah, blah, blah. So she and Daredevil find number 9. They take her back to her house. The drug dealer realizes what's happening, and he sends this mercenary after her named Shotgun. He uses shotguns. There's like this A-Team-esque chase where he attacks their farmhouse, and they have to put together this like war machine to fight back. It's dumb. Number 9 is dressed like Miss America from Coonskin, which is a Ralph Bakshi animated film. If you just search up Coonskin Bakshi, you'll see this fucking giant-breasted blonde model woman wearing a skin tight bodysuit with the American flag on it, and for some reason that's what number 9 starts wearing inexplicably. I don't know where she got it from, I don't know why it's there, but that's just something that she adorns and likes to wear. It's sort of a boring arc because it's the Inhumans just traveling around searching for Medusa's child until we get to one of my favorite Marvel villains, Ultron. And this is happening within Acts of Vengeance. This is a crossover that's occurring. Acts of Vengeance is where a bunch of Marvel villains decide to switch up their people who they fight, and so that happens. Fucking Ultron, like, switches place with Kingpin or something like that for some reason. And so Ultron is... No, that's not what happens. What happens? No. Fuck. No, that's right. Dr. Doom switches places with Kingpin, and Dr. Doom is like, hey, I found this extra Ultron head just lying around, and there's this Ultron body right here. I'm just going to connect them and see what happens. The issue is that they're two different versions of Ultron. One is Ultron... Is it Ultron 13 or 11 or something like that? It's the good Ultron. The one that I spoke about when I was talking about my favorite comic book villains. And that Ultron is the good one who wants to redeem himself and sacrificed himself for Hank Pym in one of Steve Englehart's issues of West Coast Avengers. So the other Ultron just wants to kill people. And so these scenes with Ultron is just this robot going insane and like talking to himself and saying like just things that don't make sense, and like he's... What is the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word I'm looking for. I'm completely blanking out. He says like the opposites of himself. Cut that part out. So it's just Ultron like talking to himself and trying to hunt down Daredevil while Dr. Doom just goes back to Latveria and does whatever. He never shows up again. But we cut back and Daredevil he's just staying with Brandy and number 9 because he doesn't have anything else better to do, and number 9 is like taking care of him because she's been programmed to, and he's just wondering how things got so fucking weird and insane, and how he's lost his compassion to help people, even though he still does. And meanwhile, Ultron is out in the woods conducting a pagan ritual where he collects hundreds of thousands of Ultron parts and heads, mostly heads, and he erects them on spikes and makes a circle, and then he creates a throne of Ultron heads just out in the middle of nowhere. And he's praying to some gods or whatever. And I think the issue is that it's not just the fact that it's two different versions of Ultron, it's all 13 versions of them, because he's clearly going insane. And I love John Romita Jr.'s Ultron. He's like an upside down triangle. Like his shoulders are just huge and wide and it tapers down. He's just really menacing looking. So while Ultron's doing this, Number 9 is trying to find her place in the world. Because Brandy shits on her constantly because Brandy is like, she's a 80s feminist, I guess. And, Number 9 has been programmed to be like a 50s housewife. And Brandy's a real bitch, I'll be honest. She's just mean to this poor woman. Like, she has no compassion for Number 9, even though, like, Number 9, I don't think this was, this wasn't in her will. Like, this was against her will to have this done to her, seemingly. But Brandy is just like, no, fuck you. Why you always just kissing ass to the man, huh? Why don't you should stick together with us women? And Number 9's like, well, I would if you were nice. Now let's make some pancakes. Stuff like that. Like, so I gotta do my makeup. I'll see you later, Brandy. And like, she's like flirting with Daredevil and shit. But like, Brandy's she's just so unlikable during this arc. It just gets annoying. Like, god damn, show some empathy, would you? So yeah, there's this whole thing about how Number 9 is a paradox in that she is perfect, but perfection is not real because there are no absolutes in reality. And Number 9 eventually comes across Ultron. One day, she goes outside and she's like wearing a jogging outfit and she's like, okay guys, I'm gonna go jogging, see you later. And she takes off and everybody's like, should we go like get her? They just leave her. And this is after, I should mention, this is when the Inhumans are there. The Inhumans are still trying to find out Medusa's son, and they came across fucking Daredevil and Brandy and Number 9, and Number 9 is like flirting with Gorgon and Karnak and whatever. And so she goes out, and then Ultron 12 finds her. Well, Ultron 1 to 13 finds her. And the weirdest thing is that they fall in love. It's like a King Kong sort of thing, where Ultron is trying to understand her because, like I said, she's perfection, but she's durable. She has a healing factor, so she is literally perfect. She cannot be damaged at all. And Ultron's like, what the fuck? What the fuck are you? He's trying to wrap his robot head around it. And he kidnaps her. And she, like, freaks out, but then as, like, she starts talking with him, they start to fall in love, or, like, at least have some semblance of an understanding of one another. Pretty sure it is love. So, yeah, Ultron is there, and then there's a fight between him and Daredevil and the Inhumans, Gorgon and Karnak, and it ends, obviously, with Ultron being destroyed. And after he's destroyed, Brandy finds his head from the Ultron head that was popped off during the fight, and she like cradles it and she pledges to like bring him back because she's like, oh my gosh, you're like the only person who like understands me and gets me and doesn't just look at me like I'm a fucking idiot nincompoop who doesn't understand anything. Because like Brandy and Daredevil are having full-on conversations about Number 9 while she's in the same room. Like, they just treat her like a dog or something. It's like, oh, she can't understand us. She's not smart enough to do that. But with Ultron, he he speaks to her directly without the, cadence of feeling like superior because he's, oh, you're just a woman who's been created to be like this. Well, I am a robot who was created to be like this. We should be together, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, she buries his head in the middle of the woods. Which would be a great story to follow up on. This never gets resolved. Nobody ever talks about it again, to my knowledge. There's just this Ultron head buried out in the middle of nowhere, and there's all those other Ultron heads that he erected on pikes, and there's the Ultron throne that gets destroyed. There's just, somewhere out in the woods of the Marvel Universe, there's just a mountain of Ultron heads. It's like the fucking E.T. game that they filled on that landfill, except it's Ultron heads. Like, what the fuck happens if, like, somebody unknowingly finds one and turns it on or something. I really feel like that should be a story that comes back to haunt at least Daredevil, maybe, or somebody else. The Inhumans, I don't know. Let's see. There is a Rick Leonardi fill-in issue, which, Rick Leonardi, I love his art. My favorite Rick Leonardi art is, on his, when he did the art of Vision and Scarlet Witch. Who did the, and it's specifically, let's see if I can find who did it. So this was the, which one was this? This was the Vision and Scarlet Witch 1 through 4 from 1982. That's the one Rick Leonardi worked on. It's Rick Leonardi on the pencils, and Ian Akin and Brian Garvey as the inkers. I've seen Rick Leonardi's done a lot. You can find a lot. His art is great, but there's just something about the cartooning in this 4-issue series that I just love. Like, the inkers really just bring out the cartoony aspects of Rick Leonardi's art. Like, look at this fucking image of Magneto. That just looks great. I love how, like, thick the outlines of the characters are, especially that panel of Magneto right here. Again, this doesn't make any sense if you're just listening to this. But, like, it's almost pop arty. It's almost like, Mike Allred. Like, there you go, there's another one. I just love that style so much. And that's clearly that's the inkers doing that on Rick Leonardi's amazing pencils. So anytime Rick Leonardi shows up, I'm a bit disappointed that he doesn't have those two inking him, but I just love his art so much. Rick Leonardi's fill-in issue was another issue where Daredevil has decided to travel, and this is like, after the Ultron fiasco, he leaves. They all take off, blah blah blah. They leave. It's just like a dumb flashback issue of when he was still traveling there. He meets another husband and wife, and he stays at their home and like helps them in like this weird way. Some hallucination going on. It wasn't that important. But now we finally get to the interesting thing. And that is Mephisto and his son, Blackheart. I guess offspring, spawn, his spawn, Blackheart. And Mephisto is teaching Blackheart the art of evil and corruption. And this is like Mephisto wanting to get payback on Daredevil just to fuck with him, because Mephisto's like, oh, you're like, I look like a devil. I look like the humans' idea of a devil. And this motherfucker's running around basically dressed like me and my fellow demons as a hero. And that pisses me off. And I really want to ruin his life. And, he's already been trying to do that. Yeah, he's accomplished it fairly well so far in what little he has done. But now he's teaching Blackheart because Blackheart got bested by Spider-Man, Daredevil, whatever. So number 9 leaves with the Inhumans. She's like, okay, yeah, well, I don't feel at home here. Maybe I can live with the Inhumans on the moon. And then Daredevil and Brandy leave after them. Well, who should be happening on that same highway but a hitchhiker? A hitchhiker who's actually Blackheart. And so Blackheart is, hitchhiking, and there's a confrontation in the woods between him and Daredevil. And, what happens is that the Inhumans pick up the hitchhiker who is Blackheart. Blackheart's just inherent evil begins affecting them just because they're in his aura. And they start turning on each other. And, it's primarily their jealousy over number 9 between Karnak and Gorgon. Gorgon from Small Soldiers. It's primarily that gets to him. Because we cut to Daredevil and Brandy driving down the same road, and they're like, what the fuck? That's that truck that we gave to the Inhumans in number 9. Why is it off in the ditch to the side of the road? And so they hop out, and Daredevil and Brandy go, find him, and, they run up to the truck, They don't find anybody in there, but they see footprints leading through the snow into the woods, where they find Gorgon and Karnak just beating the shit out of each other. And Daredevil runs in and stops it, and he's like, what the fuck are you guys doing? And then they start coming to their senses, and then Daredevil comes to his senses, and he like smells Blackheart in the distance, and so he gives chase and he starts running away. He runs in deeper into the woods, and eventually he finds Blackheart waiting for him, and Blackheart runs away, and he's like, oh, chase me. And Daredevil keeps running, and they start running up this mountain, and Daredevil's getting winded, and he's like he finally grabs Blackheart by the leg, and he starts beating the shit out of him. He's like, what are you doing here? Why are you doing this to us? Who are you? What are you? What the fuck, man? And Blackheart's like, please, I'm a little old man. You know, he's like Darth Sidious in episode 3. And Daredevil's like, what, an old man? And like his senses get fucked up, like Blackheart's fucking with him. So he gets rid of like his, I don't know what Blackheart smells like. I think they describe it as like burnt ink or something. And then the old man's like, ha, gotcha, bitch, and disappears. Meanwhile, as this is going on, and as the gang is like, you know, reconvening, there's a little boy living in this small town who may be an Inhuman. This little boy, I can't remember what the I am just Googling everything this episode. Medusa Inhuman son. I can't remember what his powers are. Marvel Pope Inhuman. That said Pop. God damn it. No, not Funko Pops. The kid's name is Pope. I guess he still does show up. His true name... Wow, that looks really recent. When is he showing up? Is Ara Boltagon? But while he was on Earth, he's called Pope. It's basically sort of like Superman, but with this kid. Because he was adopted by this couple who couldn't have a child, and they named him Pope. And he grows like weirdly fast, I guess. It's sort of like that H.P. Lovecraft story, except, you know, not horrifying. What are his powers? He has psionic powers, telepathy, matter and energy control, mind control, evil eye, and he has a quasi-sonic scream. Okay. So yeah, that's what he can do. He can't really, he doesn't really have many powers now, aside from maybe telepathy, or whatever I just said. But now, all the people in town are like, that kid's weird, stay away from him. And there's this goat in town that everybody says is evil, and it's like the devil, it's like more devil imagery. There's the goat. And this goat is, like, Pope is the only one that this goat won't fuck up. And so these girls come by and are like, oh, look, the weird kid's hanging out with the weird goat, blah, blah, blah. And they're, like, making fun of him. And then something happens to him. They, like, get scared, or, like, the goat attacks him. And they're like, mommy, he made the goat attack me. And so the whole town just comes together and, like, forms a lynch mob for this fucking kid. And thankfully, before they can do anything, the Inhumans show up with Daredevil and Number 9 and Brandy. And the Inhumans are like, that is the son of Blackagar, Boltagon, and Medusa. You shall not lay a hand on him, humans. And so they take him and then they leave. But what should happen? Because I think they give Pope the chance to, like, say goodbye to his human parents or something. Because they're out in a field and everybody's waiting around for him to finish speaking to his adoptive mother. And that is when Mephisto decides to enact his hand. And by that, I mean he cracks open the earth. And everybody falls into hell. Daredevil, Gorgon and Karnak, Number 9, Brandy and Pope, they all go down to hell. Daredevil wakes up in an abyss of snow and frost. Number 9 lands in a land made of feathers where angel wings are made. Gorgon and Karnak wake up in this weird, nonsensical dream world. And Brandy and Pope awaken in a giant chasm. There is a couple of characters that they meet because, like, this is such a weird thing, because this sort of implies that angels and demons are more or less the same, because these people, these humanoid people, they have very gross horns. They don't look like regular, ram horns or whatever, goat horns. They look like sort of meaty tendrils that come out to a point. They have the horns, and they also have wings, so angel wings. And a couple of these characters that they come across, Brandy and Pope meet this angel who's like a Beastie Boys angel. Like, he has a Beastie Boys crop top, tank top on, and he's he helps them escape the chasm. There's a demon angel woman that Karnak and Gorgon come across. Daredevil has this whole thing with a confession box and a flame that he has to keep ignited as just endless demons try to kill him and fight him, and he's fighting them back with his torch. And something I really like about what Nocenti does with Mephisto's hell is that it's not fire and brimstone, but it's just a frozen, rocky abyss of just death, nothing. It's the kind of place that nothing would grow, obviously, because it's hell. But the reasoning is because Mephisto has outlawed anyone from making flame that isn't him. So when Daredevil makes that flame and his torch to be able to keep himself warm, that really pisses Mephisto off, and he sends just hordes of demons after him. And that's just such a cool idea that, hell is frozen because the devil is too selfish to allow fire to be made wherever he is not. We also learned that Blackheart wants to overthrow Mephisto, and, Blackheart is an anti-monarchist, so I'm cool with that, because, he wants to dethrone Mephisto because the definition of hell is changing. In Mephisto's time, Mephisto is what humans want to see. They want to see good and evil as black and white, and thus he is demonized as this red, horrific snake-looking demon, and Blackheart argues that Mephisto lets himself become whatever humanity wants evil and the devil to be. Whereas Blackheart argues that humans are both good and evil, and thus the realm of eternal damnation should suit that. Also, for some inexplicable reason, Mephisto just suddenly becomes immensely bloated, and his nipples look like little party poppers. I don't know why. I guess, it can be, associated with, humanity's view of the devil. It's over bloated. Everybody, ooh, the devil, yeah. What a hack. What a, this and that. I don't know. It's never explained why he suddenly looks like this, but he does. Mephisto then kills Brandy. Once everybody meets up, I should say, they all converge together. Brandy and Pope find Gorgon and Karnak, and then they all eventually find Daredevil, who's just muttering to himself about demons trying to ignite or extinguish his flame. And then they finally come across Mephisto. Mephisto kills Brandy, and she becomes an angel. And who should show up right when they needed him but the Silver Surfer? The Silver Surfer shows up because he felt the presence of Mephisto fucking with Earth when he captured Daredevil and his friends, and Mephisto's trying to goad Daredevil into a fight. Daredevil won't do it. Mephisto's like, come on, fight me! Because he's real fat, and his nipples look like this, a little droopy. His nipples look like licorice. And so Silver Surfer appears, and he's like, Daredevil, be gone. Go that way to escape hell. I will take care of this. And so they leave, and as Mephisto and Silver Surfer fight, Mephisto's like, look at me, Daredevil! Look back at me and damn yourself to my realm forever! Look at me! Why won't you look at me? He's just losing it because Daredevil's pissing him off and he won't look. And so they all escape hell. Brandy meets back up with the Beastie Boys Angel, and they have a happy afterlife together or whatever. And then Daredevil is finally like, oh boy, I've had enough of this. I'm just gonna go back to New York. So he goes back to New York. There's a fill-in issue with art by Mark Bagley, starring Captain America, and it's a very sad story. I won't go into it. Just look it up. It's a great issue. I don't know what issue number it was. So Daredevil returns to New York, and he is hallucinating. He thinks that when he and everybody else went to hell, he thinks that was also a hallucination. He thinks that he's just losing his mind. He has, like, disassociation disorder, which is, I think that's the correct term. I don't know, maybe not. It's where you feel like nothing is real. You'll be doing something, you'll be like writing something, and then suddenly you'll be like, wow, my hand, that doesn't look like a right hand. That's not what things look like. You'll be talking to somebody, and suddenly you'll be like, this doesn't seem real. Stuff like that. Like, he's losing it. And as he's just shuffling through New York, and people are like, what the fuck is wrong with Daredevil? Who should find him but Bullseye? Bullseye comes across this insane Daredevil, and Matt, for some reason, thinks that his name is Jack, which is what his father's name was, Jack Murdock. And Bullseye's like, oh yeah, I can work with this. And so he steals Daredevil's costume and impersonates him for the next several issues, and the book becomes Daredevil, the Man Without Mercy, instead of the Man Without Fear. So this happens. Daredevil is lost. He is driven insane. He's losing his mind. He has amnesia. He can't remember who he is. He thinks that his name is Jack, and he runs across this woman. Do I have her name? It's like Nico or Nita or something like that. Nina? I don't know. She's this woman who, like, is squatting in this abandoned building and helps him out. And he gets a job at working as a boxer at his old gym, Fogwell's gym. But I should mention that Daredevil issue 285, it's this famous, the black suit Daredevil, the one from the John Romita Jr. Miller issues, and from the 90s, and from the more widely known the Daredevil series, his proto Daredevil suit where it's just all black with the black bandana. That makes an appearance here 3 years before Man Without Fear number 4, which I think is like the actual first appearance of that suit. But it's literally the black suit with the headband around his eyes, so nobody can see his blind eyes. He wears that because Nina or Nita or whatever, she's like, yeah, we're gonna go break into some place, and you're gonna come with me because we need the money. And 286, issue 286 has Great Capullo art. This is also where Matt becomes known as the blindfolded fighter of Fogwell's gym. And meanwhile, it's really a shitty arc, because Bullseye, like I said, he's masquerading as Daredevil, and if you've seen Luke Cage Season 1, he's doing that. He's doing the Luke Cage villain from the second half of Season 1, where he's running around causing havoc and screaming, I'm Luke Cage, I'm Luke Cage. Boom! Punched an old lady in the face. I'm Luke Cage. Bam! I just stole from the store. I'm Luke Cage. Bullseye's doing that exact thing, except he's dressed like Daredevil and says, I'm Daredevil. Tell everybody I'm Daredevil, because I am Daredevil. So that happens for a while, and eventually Matt begins having these like weird dreams in which he imagines himself training with Elektra and Stick. And eventually the dreams progress far enough to he's sleeping like 10 hours a day just so he can see these dreams, because he tells the woman Nina, he's like, the dreams are like helping my amnesia, like I'm remembering stuff, I need to sleep. And eventually, as the training progresses and the dreams progress, Elektra just leaves. She goes away from the dreams, and it's just Matt and Stick. And Stick tells him that he needs to be a humane fighter, someone who hits with compassion. And Matt's like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's not a thing. You can't hit somebody and be compassionate about it, Stick. You're insane. And eventually, he starts to remember who he is, and he finally remembers as there is a scene which is essentially a recreation of Batlin Jack Murdoch's final fight. Because the Kingpin becomes aware of this, that Matt Murdock is back in New York, and for some reason he's doing this thing where he's like a boxer now, for some reason, going by Jack. And so Kingpin's like, okay, if you want to relive your dad's death, fuck it, I'll let it happen. And he fixes the fight, and Matt just has a full-blown breakdown before it happens, another full-blown breakdown, and during the bout, he finally regains all of his memories, and he's like, holy shit, I'm Daredevil, is what it boils down to. And he fucking just one hit knocks his opponent out, and the Kingpin's goons are like, oh, you shouldn't have done that, you should have fallen, you should have taken the fall. And so they chase after him, and they like try to stop him, but, you know, he's Daredevil, so he whips their shit. And then he discovers that Kingpin is behind all this, and so he goes and threatens Kingpin to fuck off, and then he leaves. Oh, also because Kingpin had the girl kidnap Nina, so he goes and saves her. And Matt realizes or learns or remembers that Bullseye is the guy who stole his outfit and identity. So then it gets even weirder. It just becomes utter lunacy at this point, and that is that Daredevil finds Bullseye's hideout. It's abandoned. Like, there's all these, like, Daredevil, Bullseye's been stealing money and jewels, and he's like, I'm like a Robin Hood. Like, he's doing that, he's losing his mind being Daredevil, and he's fucking killing people and beating the shit out of innocent people and whatever. And, like, he lands on a car as this guy's getting mugged, and he just stands there and watches, you know, stuff like that. And so Daredevil Matt finds where he's been staying, and under the floorboards he finds Bullseye's gross suit and dons it and becomes Bullseye. So Bullseye is now Daredevil, and Daredevil is now Bullseye. Matt is back, and they fight. And Daredevil Bullseye is like, he stops this mugger from mugging this old woman by killing the guy, and then he threatens to kill the old woman, but before he can do anything more, Bullseye attacks him. Matt being Bullseye. And Matt jumps down, he's like, oh, Daredevil, you thought you could keep me in prison forever? You thought that would hold me? Like, you know, he's fucking, like, he's really in character as Bullseye, and Bullseye is also really in character as Daredevil, so it's just this fucking manic lunacy of these two people assuming each other's identities and just fighting each other, and it goes on for the whole issue. It's so fucking confusing and insane, and then it ends with, you know, Matt wins and becomes Daredevil, and, like, they bring the fight out into the street, and everybody sees what's happening, and, you know, they realize that Matt is Daredevil and Daredevil is Bullseye, and so Daredevil, he's saved face for the most part. People still don't trust him because of what Bullseye did. He really fucked up Matt's reputation. But, you know, he starts building it back. And now we finally have Matt back as Daredevil. And the final issue is about Bullet. Fan favorite character Bullet, the giant man who is a hired killer for the government or whatever. He's been hired by Kingpin because Kingpin is reinventing himself, and he's buying up, like, a newspaper and a TV station to, like, you know, have, like, pro-Fisk propaganda, essentially. And it's very humorous because he has a ponderous line in which Fisk wonders if is purchasing a newspaper and a television station really enough to sway the public's identity of me. And of course, you know, now we know that it is. But yeah, so he's doing all this, and there's also this whole thing about how they're constructing a new freeway, and they're doing it like under the table, so they're like evicting people from apartments and buying up the land and shit. And Ben Urich is there, and he's trying to uncover the case, and he gets Daredevil to help him out. And so Ben and Daredevil attacks Bullet and steals back the plans, or like whatever like contracts they had or something, some like blueprints or something that Ben was trying to get hold of to print in the newspaper. And so that whole highway scheme is undone. But, you know, meanwhile, Fisk is still creating his new empire in New York, and that is just one step that has been cracked in my path to control. You know, he's like that. And the book ends with Foggy, it's revealed, has been fixing Matt's life and reputation. He's fought the state of New York, I guess, to get Matt reinstated as a lawyer. He's fought like the debt collections and whatever else other stuff is really fucked up in his life. And so essentially Matt's back. It's a really great way to just reset the status quo of Daredevil after her run by Ann Nocenti. And it ends the same way it began. Kingpin wants to destroy Daredevil and take over New York. And it's a beautiful scene because it ends with Foggy alone at the Nelson and Murdoch offices, and he's just fucking so sad. He's eating a box of French fries, and he's just like, oh god, Matt, I don't even know what I'm doing. I lost my way. I'm sorry. I just wish you were here for me to tell you how sorry I am for, you know, going corporate and working for those terrible people and not helping the actual people out with the law, blah blah blah. And Matt's like, it's okay, Foggy. I know. And Foggy turns around and Matt's standing in the doorway. And then the final scene is just this big half of a page panel of the two of them hugging. And they're finally back together. Because Foggy has barely appeared in this story, of this run by Ann Nocenti. Like, they wanted nothing to do with one another for the most part. And so it finally ends with them reunited. And it's such a nice, heartwarming scene. It gives you that hope that things are going to be all right, even though you know they aren't. And that is how Ann Nocenti's Daredevil run ends. That is the last, like, quarter of it, maybe, of her run. It is an excellent run. Ann Nocenti, John Romita Jr. on pencils, and then Lee Weeks takes over towards the end, but it's almost entirely John Romita Jr. on this run. Al Williamson on the inks. Did I say John Romita Jr. did inks? He does pencils. Max Scheel, Christy Scheel. I don't know why she goes by Max. She does incredible work on the coloring of the series. Joe Rosen, I believe he does the letters. Those five, Nocenti, Romita, Williamson, Scheel, and Rosen, they're just a perfect team. They all work together just beautifully. And this is one of my favorite runs of comics that I've read. It's just such a great run, and it's so creative and inventive, and it's just so different than what we normally get. And they just all came together and made such a fantastic and incredible run of comics. And I'm really annoyed that John Romita Jr. went to Iron Man, I believe, after this, and that's why the last however many issues don't have him in it. It's Lee Weeks or another fill-in artist. So I wish Romita Jr. would have seen this out in its entirety, just, you know, to bring it to an end. But it's fantastic. I highly recommend Ann Nocenti's Daredevil run. It's, to my knowledge, in its entirety, it has never been collected. I think there's a couple trade paperbacks of it here and there, but those are more sporadic in terms of what they collect. They won't have a lot, like they won't have everything in them. Marvel seriously needs to publish an Ann Nocenti Daredevil omnibus. That should be something that already exists, but it doesn't for some reason. It's fantastic. Introduces two of my now favorite characters, Typhoid Mary and Blackheart. I never thought I would like Blackheart as much as I did reading these books. Nocenti really makes it an interesting character that I enjoyed seeing. I don't like when Blackheart speaks. I like it more as a silent character because it doesn't have a mouth. Maybe telepathy is how it speaks, but nothing like, no word balloons. I doubt I'll like anything with Blackheart after Nocenti. Same with Typhoid Mary. Not a whole lot going on there after her. And Typhoid Mary also disappears halfway through this series, by the way. After Daredevil leaves New York, she never comes back. But yeah, it's a fantastic series, fantastic run of comics. I'm really glad that I got all of them in hand. And yeah, that is the end of the episode. Almost 2 hours. Let me know what you thought of it in the comments below. Let me know what you thought of my recap of Daredevil. Have you read Nocenti's Daredevil? If yeah, let me know. Let me just comment anything about the podcast. What's going on below? I'm very excited because this coincides perfectly with my attending of Phoenix Comic Con, or now what it's called is Phoenix Fan Fusion, which is a dumb name, but of course San Diego and New York, they strike lawsuits against anybody who dares say the words Comic Con. They should have just called it Phoenix. Is it even Comic Convention? Because that's fucking ridiculous if it is. So they had to rename it to Phoenix Fan Fusion. I haven't been there since 2019. I'm really excited to finally get back. So I'm going up there this coming weekend. By the time you'll see this, I'll already be on the road to Phoenix. Hey, if you're there and you see me, say hi. I'll give you my business card if you want. I don't know. Let me know. I don't know where I was going with that. I don't know what I want you to let me know. But yeah, anyway, John Romita Jr. is going to be at Phoenix Fan Fusion. So I'm hoping to go there and, get him to sign the first appearance of Typhoid Mary and Blackheart, and, maybe ask him a couple questions about Daredevil and his run on there. I'm really excited about that. Really happy that he is not one of the cancellations. Steve Englehart was going to be there, and I was really excited to go there and, get his autograph on a couple books. But unfortunately, he had to cancel. A lot of people had to cancel that I was looking forward to, primarily comic book creators. But yeah, like I said, if you're going to be at Phoenix Fan Fusion this year, if you see me walking around, say hello. This is what I look like. But yeah, as always, Destructo Boy on sale now, $9.99 plus shipping and handling. Get a free sketch, you get my autograph, get all the good stuff. Issue 2 will be coming soon, I promise. Follow me on Instagram at NotBlakeWild and at Smokey's Videos, and I guess at Comic Schtick whenever I make an account on there. Stick around on my YouTube channel for my upcoming video on what is Crisis on Infinite Earths. I'm covering the DC event Crisis on Infinite Earths, and it's taken a while because that is a big fucking series. So yeah, that's what I've been working on now. I've also been working on a certain drinking video, if you are familiar with what I'm talking about. Vroom vroom. I'm not implying that I'm drunk driving. I'm talking about my Fast and the Furious drinking game review, Fast and the Fermented. I have that all done. The problem with doing those videos, though, is that goddamn Universal copyright strikes them immediately. So I have to dispute it, and now I'm waiting for that dispute to be accepted because it's a review. It's the same thing I had to do the first time around with the first movie. So yeah, stay tuned for that. I don't know when it's going to come out, but it's going to be sometime soon. And yeah, hope you enjoyed this episode of the Comic Schtick Podcast. Bye, I guess. I'll see you next week. I really don't know what I'm talking about next week, because now I don't have Daredevil to fall back on like I have been. Oh, I guess Obi-Wan. That's right. Obi-Wan Kenobi comes out. Fucking, it sucks because I'm going to have to watch Obi-Wan Kenobi on a goddamn tablet, the way Martin Scorsese loves you to watch films and shows. So I'm going to have to watch that in like the hotel room or something. But hey, at least I'll get to watch it when it comes out. So yeah, stick around next week. More comic book news, more movie news probably. My recap from Phoenix Fan Fusion. I'm thinking about recording some stuff while I'm there. I don't know if it's going to be like a vlog video or like, like a sort of documentary-esque vlog following the route there and back or something, or if I'll just film when we get there. I don't know. I'll figure it out. You might see some stuff, maybe not. Who knows? But yeah, I will see you all next time. Take care of yourselves. Bye, Destructo Boy. And I will see you next week. Bye.